I wanted to come together and talk about the leadership styles that I'm currently using and what my goals are as a leader in this class. Currently, I've been using a lot of the authoritative teaching style, partially because of where my students are socially and emotionally within the class and within how they respect each other and staff members. And another reason is it's kind of naturally evolved into that just as as a teacher, you have that great understanding and the acumen of what you're teaching, and that carries over into this a little bit. Some things I don't really care for, I don't like about it as much as I develop the goal and the idea of what we're pursuing, and then my students work to access that goal and to meet that goal. Something that I'd really like to do is to get them more involved in that, for that to evolve into something where my students are developing a goal more and then working to pursue that goal. I think that would be important to get the investment from the students, engagement, and to have them have a more fulfilling educational experience. I think that would be a very important task for them to do. Another piece of this is, as Morrison said in his article, the educational leadership of a school and of its teachers drastically improves and changes the improvement and the transformation of a school. And with that, many of his aspects, his characteristics of that really align with the coaching leadership, which is my goal in my future as a special educator, and then to apply in my classroom today to build those individualized instruction plans and relationships with students to work towards addressing their known deficits, because those are both key pieces to the coaching aspects of this. And so I think it's important to recognize the layover there. It's another important thing to recognize the characteristics of being an expert in tracking assessment data and making support and intervention plans for students and how that carries over directly into the special education world, basing that on the individual student's needs and the individual student's strength and then planning to that. And so I think that that's an important aspect of coaching and of special education, and I think that will be a natural lending. Another great thing about the coaching style of teaching is I think it lends naturally to more my personality and what I am as a person with those students, because I think that every student as an individual is important to recognize their strengths or weaknesses, and I really did like how one of the aspects of that was recognizing the student recognizing where that deficit is or the team member in Goldman's work. But I think that that's an important aspect of it to get them to identify, and when they do, to work to overcome that challenge with something is important. Another thing about coaching is an implication of coaching rather is the aspect of it not becoming micromanaging, and I think that's going to be a challenge coming off of the authoritative and evolving into a coaching style is not to become a micromanager with things. It's important for students to be able to apply what you've coached in a new way, and then with that application grow, and not to check. So because then you're not really ever taking the training wheels off and letting them actually apply what you're learning in an area that's still safe but open for them to make those errors and learn from those mistakes and create those generalizations naturally and organically is important. Another aspect of it with all forms of leadership is, of course, passion. I spoke on this in my paper, and I think passion is a hugely important part of education. That's why we all got into this. We're passionate about learning and about teaching and having students make connections with other students and with material and make meaningful connections. And I think that coaching as a team, as a leadership style, really lends itself to that naturally because you are targeting small things and then building on that. A quote that they wrote about in the NEA piece was that it builds self-worth that is needed in these students. And again, they're identifying a deficit they have. They're working to address that deficit in the coaching style under your coaching and under your direct instruction. And that, again, they're overpowering that and building that worth. I want to end with saying that, tying back to Goleman's work, that an effective leader uses at least 4 of these leadership styles. So it's important that you are fluid in how you approach this and develop yourselves in more than just one. So thank you for your time. Have a good night.